All right, folks, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in and around on this. This is the actual results of your belief quiz from last week. If you'll notice up here at the top, this line that is actually running up and down through this graph is actually known as the bedroom line. So if you look at this, and to go back up to the top, you'll see a plus bedroom up there. If you scored in the top half of this graph, meaning you scored above the horizontal line, you have a tendency to believe that the government should actually regulate moral or bedroom issues. If you scored in the bottom half of this plane, you actually are going to believe that the government should stay out of bedroom or moral issues, meaning there should be minimal or in fact as little government regulation as possible. The horizontal line is a little different. Now go ahead and zoom back in. This is the wallet line, and if you scored on the right-hand side, you have a tendency to believe that the government should regulate wallet issues. Having said this, and I'll zoom back out for just a second, if you scored on the right-hand side of this line, you are going to believe that the government should regulate wallet issues, or economic ones. Having said this, if you scroll over to the other side, you'll notice here this minus by the wallet. You actually believe that the government should stay out of economic issues, meaning people should be allowed to keep the money that they earn themselves. When you look at this, and again kind of scrolling back out, if you scored on the left-hand side here, you typically are going to believe that the government should stay out of the wallet. Now, to kind of fill in some of these categories, let's start down here in this bottom right-hand quadrant. Sarah, Arifa, and Ben, each of you three believed that the government should regulate economic or wallet issues, and each of you three believed that the government should largely stay out of the bedroom or moral issues. You folks are what are known as my liberals. Sarah, on 5 of the 7 questions, you believe that the government should regulate economics. On 5 of the 7, you believe that the government should stay out of morals. You, at this point, are a good, solid liberal. Ben, on the other hand, you agreed with Sarah regarding wallet issues. The government should, on 5 of 7 of the questions, regulate wallet, take from the rich and give to the poor, give people more regulation as far as the price of gas, or maybe giving them help as they try and buy their first home. Having said this, Ben, you are actually much stronger as far as bedroom issues, meaning on 6 of the 7 questions, you believe that the government should stay out of moral issues and allow people to make those kinds of decisions for themselves. Arifa, you actually scored here on the middle line. You didn't answer quite all the questions on this, but of the questions that you did answer, on 3 of them you believe that the government should regulate economic issues. On 3 of them you believe that the government should stay out of economic issues. In other words, you are a very moderate person regarding economic or government regulation of economics. Having said this, you did agree very strongly with Ben. On 6 of the 7 questions, you believe that the government should stay out of your personal business. So while you are an economic moderate, you are very liberal in terms of social issues. The next category is actually going to be the inverted part that we just talked about. Instead of the government staying out of the bedroom issues, you folks are actually going to believe that the government needs to regulate issues of morality. Also, you're going to believe that the government should stay out of the wallet. So basically here, you're going to believe that the government can make better decisions than people can for themselves regarding moral issues. But you folks are also going to believe that if you earn money, you should be able to keep more of it. You can make better decisions than the government can for you. You folks in this upper left-hand quadrant are actually going to be what are known as my conservatives. My conservatives. Now, as you look up here at this upper left-hand quadrant, there are a few of you that are here. Chris, Alfie, Khalil, Jessica, Noah, Brian, Najum, Eddie, Stephen, and Juan G. All of you fell as conservatives. Now, when you look at this, Eddie, Stephen, Juan G, Najum, Brian, Alfie, and Khalil, all of you on 4 of the 7 questions basically said that the government should stay out of wallet or economic issues. So you're very moderate regarding this idea of government as far as regulating the economy, but you lean slightly toward the government staying out of it. Where each of you differ on this line is actually going to be the level of moral regulation. So Eddie, Stephen, and Juan, each of you scored 1 square away from the center. 4-3, you said the government should stay out of the wallet. 4-3, you said the government should regulate morals. You are leaning conservatives. Moderate conservatives, probably depending upon the issue, but you are leaning conservative. Brian and Najum, you agreed as far as the wallet. 4 out of the 7, you said that the government should stay out of economic issues. But on 5 of the 7, you said that the government should regulate morals. So you are moderate economic conservatives, but you're good, solid moral conservatives. Alfie and Khalil, you both stepped up to a different level on this. On 6 of the 7 questions, you said that the government should regulate moral or bedroom issues. So in other words, you are very strong moral conservatives, albeit moderate economic ones. The strongest as far as the conservatives concerned is actually Chris. Chris, on 5 of the 7, you said that the government should stay out of economics. On 6 of the 7, you said that the government should indeed regulate morals. You're a solid economic conservative, but in fact a very strong moral conservative. Now, to go down here to this bottom left-hand quadrant, there are 3 more of you that are actually down here, and you're fairly close to the center. Christine, Joseph W., and Kyle. All 3 of you believe that the government should, in fact, stay out of the wallet. Stay out of economic issues. You also, at the same time, believe that the government should stay out of moral issues. In other words, the best decisions that the government makes are the ones that it allows the people to make for themselves. You folks are what are going to be known as my libertarians. Libertarians are the one group that believes in the actual legalization of weed pretty much across the board. You folks are also going to believe that if you make money, or frankly, if the individual should rise and fall based on his or her own abilities. So the government should not have a say, but it should be your ability to raise yourself, or in fact, your ability to falter. Christine and Joseph, you both scored on 4 of the 7 questions that the government should stay out of economic issues, and basically you scored on 4 of the 7 questions that the government should stay out of moral issues. So you are slight libertarians both economically and both socially. Kyle, you're a little bit different. On 4 of the 6 questions that you answered, you believe that the government should stay out of moral issues. Having said this, on 5 of the 7, you believe that the government should stay out of the wallet. So you are actually a good, solid libertarian. Again, libertarians believe that the individuals make better decisions than the government can for them, and indeed the government that governs best will be the government that governs least. Now, the 4th category, and boy did we find a lot of you up here. Nick, well, not Nick exactly, let me rephrase that. There's Faye, there's Farish, Rudy, Heather, Allison, Juan, Alex, Priscilla, and then Stephanie up here in the upper right-hand corner. You believe, all of you, that the government, quite frankly, should regulate moral issues. You believe that the government should regulate economic issues as well. And the argument really of you folks is going to be that the government can make better decisions than the people can for themselves. Sometimes Joe and Jane Sixpack are going to need help, and who better to give it to them than the government? You folks are what are known as my populists. A populist is basically going to say that the people, we can do better for the people than they can for themselves. Now, when you look at this, Faye, and I'll zoom in here, on 4 of the 7, you believe that the government should regulate economic issues. On 4 of the 7, you believe that the government should regulate moral issues. You are a leaning populist. Allison, Heather, and Rudy, a little bit different here. On 5 of the 7, you believe that the government should regulate morals. On 4 of the 7, you believe that the government should regulate economics. So in other words, you folks are actually good, solid populists on moral issues, but you're very moderate populists when it comes to the wallet. The real action, though, begins in this section when you leave the center area. And you'll notice over here Alex, Priscilla, and Stephanie. Priscilla, on 6 of the 7 questions, you believe that the government needed to regulate economic issues, meaning Robin Hood, take from the rich, give to the poor, level the playing field for those who can't level it for themselves. On 5 of the 7, you believed that the government indeed should regulate moral issues. So this might deal with issues like prayer, or it might deal with issues like abortion, or it might deal with issues like weed. But Stephanie, of all the people on the board, you are actually the grand champion. On 6 of the 7 questions, you said that the government should actually regulate bedroom or moral issues. And on 6 of the 7 questions, you believe that the government should regulate the wallet. The problem with populists is that oftentimes they have control issues. Stephanie, it appears that you have control issues. And when you become an extreme populist, you actually become what is known as a dictator, meaning you're actually trying to regulate or rule too much. So, if you get a question on the exam, who is most likely to be the class dictator, that is going to be Stephanie. Just to kind of wrap this up and to focus in on this center area again, Eddie, Stephen, Juan, Christine, Joseph, Nick, and Faye. All of y'all basically scored within one box of the center. So really, depending upon the issue, y'all could have ended up in any of these four quadrants up here. Bottom line on this is that y'all are very strongly moderate more than anything, but again, depending upon the issue, you could lean conservative, lean libertarian, or actually lean positive or populist. If you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to ask.